This is Red Eyes Creations Radio. Welcome new and regular listeners. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Henrik Palmgren, and this is Internet Talk Radio from Sweden, Scandinavia. The website is redeyescreations.com, frequently updated news, links, resources, and of course our radio archive. And Red Eyes Creations members have full access to our entire archive, where we also have extended interviews with many of our guests. That's an excellent resource for those who want to dive deeper into the many subjects that we cover on this program. Today we are going to talk about the Knights Templar, navigation, Templar meridians, the Templars in the New World, the Vatican, the Grail, and the Viking connection, and much, much more. We have William F. Mann with us on the line, and he is the author of The Knights Templar in the New World, How Henry Sinclair Brought the Grail to Acadia, and the Templar Meridians, the secret mapping of the New World. Exciting and interesting material to go through here today, so it's a pleasure to say welcome to William F. Mann. Thank you for coming on Red Eyes Creations Radio.
Thank you, Henrik. Welcome to Canada also. Thank you for welcoming me.
Definitely, it's great to have you here. I've been looking forward to having you on the program, so this is going to be very interesting going through some of this material. And I'd like to start to talk a little bit about your background. Now, as I understand it, you are a member of the Knights Templar, and I'd like to basically start right there and sort out some of the confusion, if you will, surrounding the different orders. I'm having a little bit trouble sorting out, the different branches of what belongs to what faction and so forth. And who'd better to ask about that than a member itself? So maybe you could help us to sort that out. As I understand it, there are two different Knights Templar. One branch is Freemasonic, and the other one is actually a Catholic order. This is of interest, of course, because of the split that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the program about. But if you will, what branch of the Knights Templar are you a member of?
Well, I am a member of the Masonic Knights Templar. And just to give you a little bit of background, I'm a member of a number of Masonic orders. In both there's two real factions within Masonry. One is the York Rite, which is the English side, and the other is the Scottish Rite side, which you can translate as being the French-Scottish side. Now, what came first is a real good question, and we may be able to dive into that a little bit further. But as you move up into these two orders, they come together at the highest level, and I am a member of the Sovereign Great Priory of Canada. Mm-hmm. It's known as the Christian Masonry Order, and I'm currently the eminent preceptor of Godfrey de Bouillon, Preceptory number 3, located in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. In terms of the level that I've achieved, I would say it's roughly the third highest ranking level in Canada. And the order itself, Henrik, is associated with a number of orders, Masonic orders, around the world. So it would be safe to say that I believe that the Knights Templar order that I belong to within Christian Masonry is the absolute order, and it has its continuous roots throughout Masonry, at least from the 1600s.
What you're saying there is that you're part of the Freemasonic branch, and I was just doing some basic snooping around on Wikipedia today to find out about this, and as far as I understand it and what it says there, it says that the Freemasonic branch is the united religious, military, and Masonic orders of the Temple, and is also known as St. John of Jerusalem, Palestine, Rhodes, and Malta. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. I'm also a Knight of Malta and a Knight of Rhodes. So there's a number of combinations as they come together. Again, I have to emphasize that it's at the highest level.
Okay. But is this the same Knights of Malta as the Catholic order branch of the Knights of Malta?
No, it really isn't. But I can tell you, as you move forward into the higher levels, there's really an intertwining or an intermixing of commonality as we find it. Mm-hmm. And I find that, and I know that at the highest levels that there's occasional meetings between the various orders.
Sure.
So don't be mistaken that the one order is totally representative of the church, while the other order is representative of Masonry. Those lines become very fuzzy as we head towards the highest level around the world.
Okay, well, that's interesting because, especially in regards to what is going on today and what has been going on in the past. And the reason why I wanted to kind of sort this out is because there is a merger now, so to speak, taking place between the Catholic Church or the Vatican and the Knights Templar. This was, of course, highlighted a few months ago when it was revealed that the Templars basically was going to be exonerated again by the Vatican. So the question that arises from all of that is, of course, has there ever been a big split between the orders, and is the split that prominent today? What's going on there?
There was a split. There was a split in the 12th century, and mainly that was based upon personalities. But I can tell you that the connections between the Masonic Order and the Vatican have been maintained very strongly over the last 700 years. And I can tell you the reason why they're, very simply, why we're looking to come back together. As you can very much appreciate, and it's all because, well, not all because, but because of the Da Vinci Code coming out at the time, there's been speculation that there will soon be something discovered, something very valuable discovered. And I laugh myself. I find that not only the Vatican, but other groups, other pseudo-Templar groups, other pseudo-Masonic groups, are all lining up, waiting for these, I will call it a treasure. But in my mind, it's not a physical treasure, waiting for this treasure to be discovered, so all of these factions can lay claim that they are the rightful owners to this treasure.
And why at this time? Has the Da Vinci Code helped to spearhead this in any way and bring this into the, I guess we could call it kind of the mass consciousness, or why at this particular time is this of interest?
I'm amazed with the Da Vinci Code. Either consciously or subconsciously, it's allowed people to accept that there is a higher level knowledge that is about to be exposed around the world. And it's really because of that. It's because of its mass marketing. I always say to people, I always find it interesting that people are willing to accept little snippets of truth if they're contained within fictional writings, rather than a hidden truth contained entirely throughout a book.
Right.
So the Da Vinci Code, in some subconsciously way, has prepared the path for this rediscovery of this ancient knowledge.
And this rediscovery of the ancient knowledge, is this something that you feel that you are right on a target in regards to what you are writing about, or is this something totally different? Do you know what this is?
Rick, I have to tell you that if we back up a little, one of the reasons I feel that we're right on target is I have been immersed for my full life within this Masonic, Knights Templar, full Freemasonry spirit. I come from a very long line of Knights Templars, military men, and am being immersed as such. And it was 15 years ago that I discovered that my great uncle, who was like a grandfather to me, he was, in actual fact, in the 1950s, Supreme Grand Master of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a young teenager, he showed me something, symbolism from an ancient ring that he possessed, that only in the last 15 years that I've been able to apply it to my research. And I believe that the research that I've developed, and I'm my biggest skeptic, my own biggest skeptic, has pointed me to the area where I believe I will discover in the near future that ancient knowledge that everybody so much desires.
Care to share with us what that is?
Certainly. People always ask me, is it the Grail? Is it the physical Grail? Is it the genealogical records of the family of Jesus? Is it the holy bloodline? I always say to people, the Grail can be considered on many levels. The treasure can be considered on many levels. It is everything that we talk about, but it is really nothing that we talk about. To me, it is this ancient knowledge that has been perpetuated from before the Great Flood. Mm-hmm. And if you go back into the ancient Masonic teachings, this is really what they identify as being the secret. It is the secret Word of God that is being perpetuated through man prior to the Great Flood. Knowledge which allows you to apply it on a number of levels to deal with everything from alchemy, changing lead to gold, to really changing the whole human genome to achieve long-lasting life and longevity.
That's interesting. Care to to boil this down, so to speak, this is about a secret word of God. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. And that word has been entrenched within the continual DNA of the Holy Bloodline or the Holy Family. That word has been brought forward through the human genome from ancient centuries. And there is a method that I've discovered where that word can be retrieved through essentially initiation and memory work, the two basic tenets of Freemasonry.
But what is the connection between a word and genome? How can a word, or are we talking about something, if we were to translate that into a scientific term, I guess we would talk about a frequency. Is that what you're talking about here?
We're talking about either a frequency or a code. I refer to it as a code. And that code allows us to really center in on where this physical treasure has been resting for at least 400 years.
So is it resting in a person that is alive today?
In part it is, but in part it is lying underground in an area that I pinpointed in North America. This is the most interesting thing. A number of people in Europe believe that this physical treasure still remains within Europe. I've been able to trace it through Prince Henry St. Clair. In 1398, Prince Henry St. Clair at the time was hereditary Grand Master to the Scottish Knights Templar, and he brought over to North America within 13 galleys this physical treasure. But again, we're talking about many different levels, many different spiritual levels. He brought a physical treasure, he brought members of the Holy Bloodline, he brought a number of levels of the Grail treasure with him, and sought refuge in the inner sanctum of North America.
Okay, you're mentioning Henry Sinclair. Maybe we could dive into a little bit and talk about the split then that occurred, because at the beginning, of course, the Knights Hospitallers, or the Knights Templar, of course, was a Catholic order that was, I don't know if they were sent out by the Pope, but they were under his command, so to speak, and they went down to Jerusalem, of course, dug around there. Is this where it all began, and is a consequence of what they found there also the reason for the split that occurred?
This is where it all began. The royal families, the Holy Bloodline families that came together in Normandy, France, which really initiated the First Crusades. The original 9 knights went to Jerusalem and sequestered themselves within the Temple of Solomon. And in the underground, they did discover, whether it was mapping, whether it was writings, whether it was physical treasure, they discovered something that would confirm that they were on the right path, this path of ancient knowledge, this continuous path of ancient knowledge before the Great Flood. And that's where the schism did occur. After that discovery, back in France, there was a argument between the two main families.